Hi, my name is Jules, and I made a video last night. I need help with urgent dental surgery that's going to cost $35,000. I was told I didn't give y'all enough information, didn't tell you enough about myself, the struggles I've gone through, the pain. So we're going to attempt to do this again. I did make some notes, so if you see me looking down, I'm trying to keep on track. Okay. I am a military brat, and when I was young, I already started having problems with my teeth. They said that they were very weak. They did not have any or very little enamel, that it was a congenital defect. So I had fillings, I got infections, I hated going to the dentist because I knew it meant pain, but I had to go, and so I kept going. Then I got into, they promised me when my new teeth came in, my adult teeth, that everything would be okay. Well, they were wrong. They were still extremely weak, and they still basically had no enamel. Back then, they didn't have the sealants that they have now. So, as I got older, I had to have more and more extractions done, more surgery to remove them, a lot of pain, a lot of infections. With my first pregnancy, it got even worse, and I lost a couple more. Then my second pregnancy, even worse, I lost another couple. Always with infections, always with severe pain. I would always have to go to a specialist because I was pregnant, and it was always so expensive. Then I had my third son. Yes, all three of my children are boys. I had my third son, and they got to the point that they were so brittle, so soft, that I couldn't even eat like a tuna fish sandwich without pieces breaking off of the remaining teeth I had, which were mostly the front ones. The doctors told me that all these infections were seriously affecting my health. There was always a chance that these infections would get in my bloodstream and could go to my liver, kidneys, lungs, heart, brain, and that would be devastating. So, they highly recommended that I have what I had remaining removed and go to dentures. I was 31 years old. Thank goodness I don't remember that day. So they pulled them all, and they put in 4 posts and a snap-in denture. And I was so happy. My self-esteem had been so low. I tried to hide it, but all I could do was tear with my front teeth. I couldn't chew. I had to cut everything up into little pieces or mash it. Well, you can't do that in public. At least I couldn't. I would have been so humiliated. It was hard enough just going out in public before the dentures. So about 2 or 3 months went by, and everything seemed to be going so well. I was regaining my happiness, regaining my confidence to go out to see people. Yes, during the whole time I did have to work, and I was in the public. I worked for a large Texas grocery store. But I always tried to smile and be friendly. I really am a people person, and this became very hard. Back to the denture. So a couple months later, I was eating, and I don't even remember what it was, and one of the posts broke. So I went back to the dentist, and they said they couldn't replace it or make a new one, that I would have to go to just regular dentures. My mouth is small. They did not fit right. They lined them, and I used all kinds of goop, adhesive to keep them in. They made me gag, so I started sucking on mints so that I was able to talk and not gag in front of all my customers. I would have been so embarrassed, and at times I was. There were times I couldn't get the mint in soon enough, or that I ran out, didn't realize. I gained a lot of weight, and so that wasn't good. So a few years went by, still using the goop, still gagging, still using the mints, and I decided to go back to the dentist and see about getting a new set. Well, they told me they would fit the same, that they were made the same, and I would have the same problems. So I just kept going with what I had. At times I couldn't wear them. It was painful because they didn't fit. I usually had them out when I was with friends, family, at home. We would have Christmas parties, other family get-togethers, birthdays, vacations would come, and I would put them in just for the pictures, and then I had to remove them. The longer I wore them, the harder it was to wear them. So many years went by, and I tried again. And they said no, that it was still the same. Nothing would change. At that point, it was getting so bad that I couldn't wear them. My self-esteem was so low. I was suffering from severe depression and anxiety. It was nearly impossible for me to leave the house other than to go to work. My oldest son was in football in basketball, in track, other clubs, and he wanted me, of course, to come watch his games. And he wanted me to get involved with the booster club. There were always whispers. There were always funny looks. I'd been asked on more than one occasion if I had brushed my teeth. Sorry. And others had asked me if I'd done drugs like meth. And I didn't. It was congenital. There was nothing I could do. So, I would wear them for a little while. They'd really get to me, and I'd quit wearing them. And I was always so embarrassed to go to these functions, these games, because I felt that I would embarrass him. I was overweight. I had no teeth. We didn't have a lot of money. And I became more and more a recluse. I didn't go out to see friends. I didn't want to go to church. I knew I had to keep going to work. I had no choice. But everything else, I just stayed home. I always made an excuse. Well, I can't this time. I can't this time. This is going on. This is happening. I'm sick. I always had an excuse. In 2022, I had to have knee replacement surgery. And during that time, I still had very good insurance. During that time, my 30 years with this company came up. At that point, I was able to retire. My husband and I talked it over. He'd been retired for many years. He'd had many back surgeries, neck surgeries. He was a firefighter and destroyed his body. So we agreed that I would retire. So we took it out as a lump sum and paid off all our bills and decided to take a once-in-a-lifetime vacation, a cruise to Alaska. There were so many people. I guess I just really didn't realize what it was going to be like. And I became more and more self-conscious. I was no longer wearing my dentures at all. Eating in the dining room was extremely hard. My choices were extremely limited. Everything had to be cut up super tiny or mashed. And people stared. And no, it wasn't just in my mind. People would whisper. People would stare. I was overweight. We traveled with another couple, and between my husband and them, we did see the sights, and the boat was beautiful. But I don't remember a lot of it. I was depressed and so self-conscious. But we did go, and I do remember, and I do have lots of pictures. Of course, even as I had told you earlier, I hated pictures, and I was always behind the camera, at least as often as I could be. So I retired, and I stayed home for about 2 years. I had worked for over 35 years in retail, and I was bored. I missed seeing people. Even though I was embarrassed, I would get to know people as I worked, and I felt they accepted me over time. Well, now I decided to go back to work. I had lost about 40 pounds from 220 to 180, but of course there were no teeth. I applied for many jobs and got declined. Appearance in an interview is extremely important. My appearance was not good. No matter how I fixed my hair, how I put on makeup, how nice my clothes were, they really didn't see that. Even with all my experience, I had been a manager. I had worked many different departments. I had a lot of knowledge about retail, about building displays, about pricing, customer service, and yet I was turned down. Finally, I got a job with a discount store. Worked there for about a year. Made lots of friends, but had a boss I couldn't work with, and got myself fired. Yes, I got myself fired. Only time in my whole life that I'd ever been in trouble, ever had real problems with management or co-workers. So then I got a job as a caretaker, and she doesn't care how I look. She cares how I do, that I talk to her, that I cook for her, that I clean for her, whatever she needs. But recently, within the last month, I've started having this horrible pain that goes from here down to here, a lot of times affecting my neck. Sometimes it affects the top, and sometimes the whole jaw. I used Ambisol or other companies' brands of pain-relieving toothache pain medicines, and they worked for a while, but it got worse and worse, and so I went to the dentist to see what was going on. Well, I have a degenerative, I think that's how you say it, condition where my jaw bones are disintegrating. It is becoming harder and harder to eat because it hurts. And I can only take Tylenol, and I have some other medications. I have a neck injury, and they're for nerve pain, and they helped at the beginning, just like the Oragel, but it just kept getting worse and worse. Then I found out that I had this degenerative condition. They're going to have to do oral surgery. I'm going to need bone implants, bone grafts, skin grafts. But there is an upside. If I can have this surgery done, they will place in 8 posts. They will make a appliance that fits just my mouth. It will not just be a denture that just comes, I don't know how they make them, but this will be a semi-permanent, functioning set of teeth. The pain, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the depression, the thought of having a real smile again with, we'll say, real teeth. My hope, my dreams for a more regular life, there'll still be things I can't eat, of course, but I will be so much less restricted, and I won't be so self-conscious. But $35,000 is a lot of money. As I told you, I'm part-time working. My husband is not at a point where he can work. We live off of his Social Security, his retirement, and my part-time job. We are able to pay our bills, buy groceries, and usually have a little left over. But there's no way that I can afford $35,000. I have dental insurance, and they're willing to pay $199. I looked into all implants at one time, and that was going to be $40,000 plus the cost of the reconstructive surgery, which at that time I did not know that I was going to need. So here I am, nervous as can be, knots in my stomach, my head is just spinning. But I'm pleading with you, begging with you, if you can help me, $1, $2. If not, please share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers, anyone you can think of that will watch it. My goal is about 3 years. By that time, it'll probably cost more. The more that they deteriorate, the more work that will have to be done. Monday, my husband and I celebrated our 37th wedding anniversary. He has been so supportive. He has been there through the good times, the bad times. He saved my life twice. I tried to take my life. My depression, my anxiety just got so high. And yes, I was seeing a psychiatrist, therapist, and I was on medication. But I was so lost in myself, in my embarrassment, my humiliation. But this is not about really getting teeth. That's the bonus. This is about saving my jaw. This is critical, very urgent. If it keeps degenerating, I will start to lose the way that I talk. As you can tell, I do have problems now. Some words, it's very hard to enunciate. As it deteriorates, I will be able to eat less and less. Probably end up on a liquid diet. I know a lot of you are out there saying, not my problem. And that's true. But I'm hoping that you will have some compassion for me. Maybe you know someone else who has dealt with this kind of issue, had these kinds of struggles. Maybe it was you. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm going to be totally transparent. I am, in the next video, going to try to show you the estimated plan and what everything is going to cost, approximately. So please, I'm asking for your help. I set up a GoFundMe account. The description will be in the link will be in the description. Thank you for watching. God bless you. This is Jules. Have a great evening.